Good day, my name is Sky, and I appreciate you spending some study time with me. I'm here to help you make money in online poker by teaching you key strategies and getting you to take action. You know, I love it when poker forces collide and things happen to give me a great idea for a podcast episode, and that's what happened today and yesterday. Today, I had a killer good session where I ended up 3.2 buy-ins up after less than an hour. But yesterday was a bit of a struggle. I was down and out, maybe not fully out, but I was down, feeling like I was out, but I fought back through it. I weathered the storm to end up being up 0.25 buy-ins, a quarter of a buy-in. And that being down and then coming up, ending the session up, actually felt better than my positive 3.2 buy-ins up today. So today, I'm going to help you weather the storm just like I did yesterday. Got some great tips, some great hands to go over with you, plus a few different graphs that I pulled up from my own play. So go to the show notes page, smartpokerstudy.com/pod517 to see it all. As you listen and follow along, let's get into it. Gambate!
I rock and roll all day long, sweet Susie.
So what is the storm? Well, it's what that pirate ship is going through right now. Turbulent waters, getting pummeled by the waves, the rain, and the wind. You can turn around now and cut your losses to escape the storm, or you can persevere, push through, and try to weather the storm and actually come out the other side a little bit shinier and maybe in a more beautiful spot than when you entered the storm. So, weathering the storm, you guys have seen situations like this. You're playing for quite a while, a little bit of down, a little bit up, but then boom, a really big loss. That's when that huge wave strikes, almost capsizing you. When this happens, you can let it capsize you, or you can fight through the storm and weather it to win back your losses, and even then some. This is actually a screenshot of my graph from yesterday. And you can see this graph if you go to the show notes page, smartpokerstudy.com/pod517. And now, we all know the storm. We've been through the downs and the ups of poker just like this. Now, this particular session, you can see actually what happened just a few hands in. I actually started, I had 7-6 offsuit in the big blind. The button limped. I checked. I flopped 2 pair on the Jack 7-6. He had Jack 8. We got it all in. He only started with 30 big blinds, so it was a 58 big blind pot after the rake was taken out. My 7-6 ended up losing on the river to a rivered stronger 2 pair against his Jack 8. But hey, I wasn't about to let that stop me right there. A few hands later, I actually hit like a little uptick here. My pocket queens flopped a set. Loving this, I got flop and turn value. I bet the river and he folded, so maybe miss out on some value. But still, a set on the flop, pocket queens, winning a full 70 big blind pot. Loving that actual result right there. That brought me back up to just about even. And then the next hand, I had king queen offsuit against a king jack. I was the open raiser. The king jack called against my king queen. I ended up turning a top pair hand. He had a gut shot plus a flush draw. He bluffed the river. I called, winning a 46 big blind pot. And I'm back to positive, roughly up about 45 big blinds or so. And then what happens? I'm treading water for quite a bit, for roughly 100 hands or so. And then, oh my gosh, the wave hit me. This hand, I had ace king. I open raised. He 3-bet with ace queen in the small blind. I just called. And the flop comes ace, 8, deuce. Of course, at the time, I didn't know he had ace queen, right? But I find that out on the turn, because what happened on the ace, 8, deuce, I have the ace king. He bet, I raised him, and he called. The 9 comes on the turn. He made a small bet, and I shoved all in, and then he called with his ace queen versus my ace king. So I was totally crushing him right there. 245 big blind pot if you count the rake. And then, of course, he hits his queen on the river, crushing my dreams. I felt like I was sinking down into Davy Jones' locker after this wave hit me. But I was not gonna let this hand stop me. I want to talk to you now about how to weather the storm. When you have those slightly ups and downs, but all of a sudden, boom, you get hit by the wave. How are you going to fight back? How are you going to stay composed? How are you going to keep playing to win back that money and then some, to come out shinier on the other side of the storm? To go from negative 80 big blinds up to about positive 30. Well, here's what you're going to do. First, recognize you just entered the storm. If having these huge negative results, losing big hands, if that can hurt you mentally, get you to anger, send you on tilt, then you're just like me. You enter the storm sometimes, right? What you want to do is say to yourself, let's do this, or gambate, or hey, it's my time to shine. I'm looking down right now. The whirlpool is starting to suck me in, but I'm going to fight my way out of this. So turn on that fight attitude. Next, take a breath and sit out if necessary. Even if you're playing 2 tables, that's only 12 hands you might miss, right? If you miss one full round. No big deal. It gives you a chance to calm down and recenter, refocus yourself. Next, smile. The thing about smiling, if you've never known this, when you actually smile, like physically put a smile on your face, fake the smile right now, your body releases 3 hormones when you smile, and those make you feel good. Those are dopamine, endorphins, and serotonin. Now, these signal to your body that you are happy. Even if you're faking the smile, you just naturally feel happier. So put on a smile and then make a commitment. I will fight and I will weather this storm. And then return to the table after you sat back on, the next hand is in the big blind, of course, your Delta hand, and play calmly, play your game, and don't force it. When we have a big loss, we tend to, holy cow, I got pocket aces. I got to do everything I can. Let me get it all in on the flop, no matter what those flop cards are. You don't want to force it. You want to do what you're used to doing, making reads and making plays against your opponents. And now let's talk a little bit about strategy to use in these stormy times. First off, play in position. So that means defend your blinds less often and open raise out of the EP less often as well. When you play in position, you naturally have that positional advantage. It makes poker a bit easier for you to win back those losses. Next, don't be scared of smart aggression. Sometimes when you lose a hand of 120 big blinds, that might get you to play a little cautiously, a little too cautiously, a little too passively. You start checking and calling way too often. No. If you know that 3-betting right now as a bluff is the play to make and you would normally make it when you're in your right mind and you were present and you were focused, force yourself to make that smart aggressive play. If you know that your opponent is c-bet bluffing and a check raise to 2.5x is going to get him to fold, don't just check call. Make the check raise. And you also want to make deliberate bet sizes. You're not just clicking half pot for a c-bet. You're not just clicking 3 big blinds for an open raise. Think through every bet size you make and make it deliberately. And also think ahead to how you think they will respond to your action. If you're about to c-bet, what's he going to do? Is he going to call, fold, or raise? Should you size your c-bet up or down to get you what you want? And I talked about this planning ahead, playing deliberate poker. In podcast 516, you can find a link in the description down below. Now, this podcast is meant to help you with your mental game. And thinking about the mental game, I wrote a book called Post-Flop Online Poker. And between most of the chapters in the book, I have an additional, smaller 1 or 2 page chapter, and those are all called Mindset Moments. So throughout the book, in the main chapters, I'm giving you post-flop strategies to steal pots and earn extra value exploiting your opponents. But in those mindset moments, I'm helping you stay focused, play with presence, so that you can win more money. So I want to thank some awesome poker peeps who recently picked up my book, Post-Flop Online Poker. You can find a link to the book in the show notes page, smartpokerstudy.com/pod517. But I want to thank Francisco Perez, Jack Arnold, Shankar Padmanabhan, Mark Wyckoff, Tarvo Solg, Tammy Chris, Pierluigi Docena, Minchu RG Stanchu, Kennedy Mumina, Susan Braniff, Jordan Youngerman, Daniel Mason, Michael Kempink, Swarnajit Bose, Benjamin Bucchianti, John Hayes, and Soggy Henriette. Thank you all so much for picking up Post-Flop Online Poker. Let's get back to it. Now here is the hand that took me from about negative 85 big blinds up to positive 30. So I have ace-king suited in the MP. Under the gun folds, and I open raise to 3 big blinds. A 36-14, loose aggressive, yet still kind of passive player decides to call in the cutoff. The other players fold, so we're heads up to the flop. I have ace-king of hearts. I'm out of position, but the flop comes queen, jack, 4 with 2 hearts. So I flopped a flush draw, flopped a gut shot, my ace-king on the queen, jack. Plus, I still have 2 overcards, the ace and the king. Things are looking up. I have a ton of equity, even though I don't really have a good made hand right now. So what do? I'm thinking through my decisions, and of course, I c-bet. I make it 3 into 7.5. My opponent, who doesn't seem so flop honest, the smart HUD says that he folds to 3-bets 33% of the time, 2 out of 6, and he c-bets 75%, 3 out of 4. Yeah, not a flop honest player. I expected him to call. Like I said in that prior slide, you want to think about how your opponents will react to your play. Expected a call, and lo and behold, he gave me the call that I was expecting. The turn comes the 6 of clubs, so the board is Queen, Jack, 6, 4, with 2 hearts. Remember, I have the ace, king of hearts, flush draw, gut shot, 2 overcards right here, 13.5 big blinds. Now, if I look at my opponent, I'm thinking ahead to what he's possibly going to do if I double barrel. Now, he's folded to turn c-bets 100%, 1 out of 1, and he c-bet the turn 1 out of 3, 33%. So he's a turn honest player. And I'm kind of expecting right now, hey, this c-bet is going to get him to fold. He might just call with a draw, but I'm ahead, or at least I have a lot of equity versus some of his draws. His king 10, his 10-9, his random 2 other hearts. I have the nut flush draw, right? What does he do? He comes in for the raise. He makes it 23 over my 7 big blinds. Now that board on the flop, Queen Jack 4 with 2 hearts, that was already pretty wet. That 6, I really didn't think it changed anything. I didn't see why he would get busy with aggression now. I think he should have raised me in position on the flop to start building that pot in case I had something that connected with the 2 broadways and the 2 hearts. So I really didn't believe that he had much right now. So what do? I came back over the top, 122 big blinds shoving. He had 100 big blinds behind. He called. So we're both all in a 257 big blind pot, and he showed 5-3 of hearts. He had the open ender with the 4 and the 6 on the board, plus the flush draw, and the 9 came on the river. 9 of clubs, didn't complete my draw. I won with my ace high hand, loving this. But this just goes to show I remained calm and I assessed the situation, and I used aggression at the perfect time on the turn to put them all in with a way, way, way inferior non-made hand. So the reason why I'm telling you all this, helping you weather the storm, is because I want you to avoid Davy Jones' locker. Now here's another session. I'm sure you guys have had plenty of sessions like this. You're playing after just 52 hands or so. Things are going even. Maybe you're down a little bit right here. But all of a sudden, on hand number 52, you lose over 100 big blinds. And then on hand 54, you just quit the session. You're so pissed off. Davy Jones has sucked you down. You're dead. And you're not going to win back your losses. Another thing that might happen, you start out playing, just going along even, not really winning or losing anything. All of a sudden, on hand 15, you lose 60 big blinds. Drat, I'm going to fight back. I can persevere. And then maybe about 40 hands later, boom! You lose 100 big blinds. Now you're fed up. So many losses in a row, about 170 big blinds down right now. You say, screw this. 3 hands later, you end the session. Now, sometimes you just get unlucky in that first hand and lose 60 big blinds. You get unlucky in that second hand and lose 100. But quite often, and I'm sure you would agree with me on this, after losing that first hand, that affects you mentally and you start making those overly cautious, overly passive plays. You're not playing your normal game. You're not making reads. You're just playing your cards and the board. And that oftentimes leads to further loss. And then, of course, you got to cut your losses, so you end the session. You fell right into Davy Jones's trap here. So now I want you to take action. First, please like the video if you like the video, subscribe for more, and leave a comment down below. Now it's real action taking time. Play with purpose and weather the storm the next time you're in it. I want you to write a sticky note and attach it to your monitor. I will fight and weather this storm. I am not turning the ship around right now. And I gave you 7 ways, 7 how-tos to weather the storm. You could put those on the same sticky note or write them on a separate one. Totally up to you, but I wish you luck the next time you encounter the storm. And I hope you weather it and come out the other end nice and shiny. Thank you so much for listening. If you have not done so yet, go to the show notes page, smartpokerstudy.com/pod517 to help you take notes and, of course, see all the screenshots right there. You can also watch the video that this podcast was taken from. And there's a link right there, Post-Flop Online Poker. You can buy it directly from me in PDF or audiobook format. And I appreciate all of your support. Until next time, take action both on and off the felt to become the player that you want to be.